Hey everyone, how's it going? We're up here today to do a little bit more work on this old thing. So the project for today, I want to pull the sump off it, drain the oil, pull the sump off it, clean everything out of the sump, because I know there's a lot of sludge in that sump, and I get the feeling with having oil with detergents in it, it's probably going to break that sludge up, which is fine, but then I'll probably end up putting it all through the motor. So just clean it out and then I know I'll be right. I've got the gasket here anyway, so that's going to be the job for today. Yeah, a few other things I'm starting to work towards as well. We've got a new hydraulic spool valve, some fittings, a hydraulic filter, there's a new exhaust elbow for the manifold. Now, they originally ran the exhaust manifold up, well, the exhaust up through the bonnet, which is all good and well. But yeah, that exhaust elbow is no good for that. You can't buy, from my understanding, the right one anymore. I did see one for sale, like a real good one, but yeah, it was in the UK, and yeah, that's going to be expensive to get here. So yeah, we didn't end up buying that. I don't even know if the owner would ship it all the way out here. So yeah, that's what's going on today. So got another filter. I was going to try and salvage oil and filter, and it's just not worth it. Yeah, you know, it's a little bit of money, but it's cheaper than an engine. That's why I'm looking at it. Might also pull a big end off and have a look, see what they look like. Yeah. Also, while you're here, when I went to pull that, when I went to buy that push bar for the tractor, old mate turned around to me and said, "Oh, I've got a bonnet off a super major if you want it." I'm like, yeah, why not? Turns out, yeah, he had this bonnet. It's not great, like there's a reason he took it off, but it looks better than the yellow one, so, and it was free. It's got one badge, but I think that pin's missing. So yeah, it is what it is. It was free. Might be able to use bits and pieces off it and yeah, make up something a bit better. Don't know. But anyway, that's what we're dealing with. So I suppose the first thing is get under there and drain that oil out. So I'll set you guys up somewhere and we'll see what comes out of this sump. It'll be interesting to see what actually comes out. Alright. Alright. Bucket. Apparently the sump plug washer is leaking just a little bit. When does that gasket kit come with a new one? Because oil's not cheap. You don't want it running on the ground. Get out of there. So I wonder if we're going to get any more sludge or we're just going to get good oil. Okay, there's more water. That's never good. Yeah. It's not sludgy, but it's not great. Just look at this plug. Yeah, no, I think it is a little sludgy. I think it's broken down a bit, the sludge, and it's just draining out. Alright. Oh well. Suppose I'll let that drain for a bit and bring you guys back when there's something else interesting to look at. Alright, bring you back in a sec. Alright, that's been dripping for a bit now. So, yeah, put the plug back in. I did find a new sump plug washer. Nice sort of copper one, so that might seal a bit better. The one that was on there looked like it had done a few rounds, I think. Get in there. There we go. I might give that a bit of a wash off. Get rid of a bit of that sludge. Alright. There we go. It's a bit better. Crush that nice new washer down. Hopefully that shouldn't leak. Now, I think I might remove the oil filter housing, or the oil filter cartridge, I suppose, before I take the sump off. It might give me a little bit of wiggle room. Yeah, it's probably the go. Alright, I'll do that. Alright, so I'll pull this filter out, but I don't really know if there's even any point videoing pulling the bolts and stuff out, because you're not going to see nothing the way this thing's designed. So I'll get this out, and just as I drop it out I'll bring you back, because this is pointless, you watching the side of the injection pump with a spanner jiggling around. Just not worth it. So I'll bring you guys back in a sec. Alrighty. Hopefully you guys can see something there. Well, it doesn't look that bad. I don't know what you guys can see. There's a bit of like slimy sort of black stuff there, but it doesn't look like it's chockers full of sludge. But that's, yeah, it's here nor there. We'll change it. Makes for a good yeah, good a first initial, I don't know, sludge removal, however you want to put it. Set that down there and that can drain a bit more. Alright, so I suppose we get rid of that oil, and then we'll set up for, that's it. I think we just pull all the sump bolts out. I might have to set a jack or something up underneath it to sort of catch it a bit, and we'll just let it drop out in the ground and see what nasty things are in there. Hopefully nothing. Alright, we're back again under here. So all the bolts are out of that side. Thought I'll just get some footage pulling some bolts out of this side, because it's going to get pretty boring watching me zip bolts out of this. And then we'll get a jack, put on the sump. I suppose I'll leave you guys here for that, and yeah, no, you get a good view from there, so I think you guys can stay there for that. Yeah, that'll be sump off. I might have to move this tacho drive cable, it's a bit in the way. foot. Coated in dirt. I hate working under things. At least with being a mechanic, you've usually got a hoist. So you can stand up if nothing else. I think I've counted about 4 different bolts or styles of bolt I've gotten out of here now. So, and there's a few missing too. I think there's, yeah, we've got 1 safety bolt and 1 other one to get out. Oh. Get out. Oh, yes. They're not sump bolts, but they're definitely off it somewhere, I think. Oh, maybe not. Is there blue paint on it? No, I can't tell. Doesn't matter. Alright. I better go get a jack, I suppose. Yeah. Jack and a pry bar. It might come off, it might not. Alright. I'll be back. Alright. So, we have a jack and some blocks of wood and whatnot to stop it from landing on my head. And of course we dropped the bolt. Now, I just knocked over all the other bolts. Okay, we're going good here. Let's get back over there out of the way. I wonder, is that going to stay there or is it going to fall by its own accord? Well, if I back this jack off a little, we'll see what it does. Ooh, okay, it's moving already. I'm going to get my head out of the way. I'm thinking I'm just going to go for the approach of let the jack go and see what happens. So you guys have got a front and row centre angle of that. So this might be the end of the GoPro, but hopefully not. Here we go. Mat out of the way. Yeah, well, that was alright. Next question, how am I going to go from here? Yeah, I might have to switch the camera off, get the camera out of the way because I don't want to damage it. I might manhandle this down and I'll bring you back when it's on the ground. Might be easier. Alright, we'll do that. Alright. So that's off. If you can notice, there's the strainer. I hope this all comes out. I don't know if GoPro's like, oh yeah, no, I think it's coming out. You can see the high tide mark from the water and sludge. That's a strainer. I don't think that's a Fordson strainer. It doesn't look anything like what I've seen when I pulled the sumps off these things. Oh, that's nasty. There's a bit of rag I just had. And that's the good bit. Alright, get my hat off so I don't coat it in garbage. Not prepared again. Yeah. Bit of plastic back under here. Come on screen, hurry up. There we go. What the hell is that? That's... Actually, this all makes sense now. Because remember, we found bearing shells in the toolbox, genuine Ford ones, or Fordson, whatever. I reckon that's got something to do with why they were putting shells in this thing. And you know the best part? It's broken. Don't leak on me. Yeah. Oh well, there's not much I can do about that. What abomination that is. Hold on. If I move that out of the way. Come on. Ow. No, it's wedged under the front axle. Never mind, I was going to try and slide that sump over to catch a little bit of that oil. Actually, hold on. Alright, I'm back. Yeah, just have to reposition the sump a bit so we don't cause as much mess. Now that's really nasty. So I'm intrigued to find out what those bearings are going to look like, or more not so much the bearings, the crank. This is why I don't like pulling these things apart, because it goes, but you just open a big can of worms. But no, I can't build another engine like this. I can't invest that much money in this thing. So if it didn't rattle, maybe I shouldn't just look at the crank. Maybe I should just leave the bearing caps on there. It didn't make death noises, so we'll just poke our fingers in our ears and go la 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 and leave it alone. But we can't leave that oil pickup like that. That's just not, that's not cricket. Yeah. So that's why it didn't suck up any sludge, because it would have only been sucking oil off the better oil that was on the top. That's what saved this thing. Yeah. I did wonder why there was why there was water in the sump and it hadn't sucked it through the motor and turned into a milkshake. That's because it wasn't sucking oil from the bottom of the sump. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, double-edged sword, I suppose. Alright. Well, that's the end of that then. Well, could have been better, could have been worse. I do have other oil pickups there. I think I've got a good one. I think. I should have one somewhere. If not, well, we'll just rob one out of that engine, but I can't be bothered pulling the sump off it just to rob the oil pickup out of it. That'd be a pain in the butt just for, oh. Well, the motor's got to come out anyway because it's getting a new motor, so yeah, maybe we could just remove that motor a bit earlier rather than later. Anyway, we'll see. I'm not looking forward to putting this sump back on. It's sort of hung up on this flange here and hung up on the steering shaft, and it was just, yeah, there's plenty of room, but just not quite enough to make it drop out nice and neatly. So it'll be a nightmare to put it back in, but it is what it is. Alright, I'll get out of here. So I think this is going to be it for this video. I don't know how long it's going to be. I'll have to look at the footage, but it'll probably only be a short one. But yeah, a lot of viewers tend to like short ones. So next we'll be putting that sump back on with a new oil pickup. I've got gaskets. We should have everything we need. I don't know how much. I'll video. Yeah, no, I'll video most of it. Most of the putting the actual sump on I probably won't, because there'll be a lot of swearing and cursing and yeah, just it's not going to be a fun time. So we need to find some more bolts for the sump and for the bottom part of the bell housing. Yeah, got gasket. I should have an oil pickup. I'll go fossick one of them up tonight when I go home. Yeah. What was another? Oh, there was one other thing I was going to talk about. So, come around here. Elbow. the exhaust. Now, this old thing had one obviously come through the bonnet. You know, good and well. But you can't buy that elbow anymore. So my options is I make one out of this or the one off the other major, which is getting replaced anyway. Actually, I could just put that one on. Anyway, but look in here. If I sit, we get you guys in the right spot so you can see what I'm carrying on about. That will clear. I didn't think it would. I thought I was going to have clearance. If I ran an exhaust, it would come up. This bonnet's not sitting where it should be. I could run a pipe up here like a standard one and do like they did with the air cleaner, dog leg it in. Actually, in fact, the exhaust that I've been using, one with the car muffler on it, that has that set up on it. I could probably just use that on this, put that complete elbow on it, and we'd be right. We would have a hole in the bonnet, but, well, that bonnet's trashed anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm just thinking what's going to be the least amount of work for me, because that flange, when you look, put the camera on so I can see what's going on, try and get out of the shadow. Yeah, that flange is on angle, so if you just run a slice and roll it round, the thing's going to be all wonky and, you know, not real good. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm leaning more towards putting it on just as is. But anyway, that's a job for another day. Not today. Get out of that sump over. Yeah, so what else was I going to say? I think that's about it. I don't really have anything much to add for you guys. So yeah, so next video, or next week's video, we'll be putting that sump back on with a new gasket, new pickup, put the oil back in it. I was hoping to put it back on today, but no, well. Actually, I do have an oil, no, I've got an oil pickup here off the super, off the motor, you know, the motor's going in the super that I pulled off, but it's not real good. It's been bent and the bloody one of the big ends has hit it, and yeah, I don't think I want to put it back in a motor. So yeah, I think that's going to stay in the shed. I think I've got a better one. Actually, which one we're going around in the super then? I'll have to have a look. So I need one for that as well, so I might end up having to rob one out of that other motor. Anyway, I'll sort some bits out and whatnot, and yeah. So like, share, subscribe, you know, all the usual stuff, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay, a bit of bonus footage time. I sort of tinkered a little bit more and it got the better of me. I had to have a bit of a look. So yeah, I pulled the pickup pipe off. Yeah, nothing to be seen there. And then I started having a look at the bearing caps, and there was a little bit of movement in number 4. Oh, okay. So I took it off. And it is absolutely trashed. So that side doesn't look too bad. When you look at that side, ooh yeah. Yeah. I don't know how well that turns out, but you can see that crank has had a really bad day. So, where do we go from here? I'm not pulling the engine out. Life's too short. I cannot do that to this machine because, well, there's bloody 3 other tractors in line to to tinker with, and this one's just supposed to be a bit of a, you know, just something to use. So I think I'll get some ultrafine wet and dry, polish that crank as good as I can, and I'll slip some new standard shells in it. I pulled that other shell out of the cap, and yeah, it is standard. And it also, yeah, it hasn't spun them. So if I can polish that crank and get it pretty nice, yeah, it'll be better, and it should be okay. Because it didn't spin it now, so you probably won't spin it again, but it's definitely, that's been starved of oil. And I'd say it's been starved of oil twice, because we have shells that have been put in before, so that would indicate that something nasty's happened to it once before. And if it'll turn out, well, that sun's coming in there pretty nasty. Yeah, you can see the sparkly bits up there. I looked at that and I thought, oh, that's indicative of a bad time. Which I knew, that could have been from the first time or the second time, I don't know. So I'd say, yeah, she started knocking one day a bit, and they've shut her off, pulled the sump, found the broken pickup pipe and gone, oh dear. So they've repaired it, spun a set of shells in it, and went again. And I think I've just caught it before it would have been going to the point of making noise, because it didn't rattle. It wasn't rattling. I think I was just lucky. I'm really glad I pulled that sump off now, because if it did a good job with the bottom end bearings in this, yeah, I don't know really what I'd do with it. Because yeah, just the nightmare of getting this engine out. Like you can see, there's a whole lot of, like the whole front axle is a bit of I-beam. Like there's so much material to get to the engine. Another thing I noticed too, there's no locking tabs. Usually they have the strap that goes across the two on the mains. Yeah, it doesn't have any. So does that mean it's been apart before? Yeah. Anywho, another thing I noticed too, you can see where I've been scratching there. There's no sump gasket in this engine. They've used sealer. So that means I can't put a sump gasket back in it unless I put a new rear crank seal in it. Because, for those who don't know, that's the rear crank seal. It's got a rope style seal, but the sump is part of that actual carrier. So if you adjust this tolerance here, adjust the tolerance of that seal. So if I put a sump gasket in this, it'll open up the tolerance on that seal and it'll hose out. So I think I'm just going to have to put sealer back on it and put it back together. Not the end of the world, but not the best idea either. Even though I don't think that seal's very good, but it's not, you know, it's not not just, oh yeah, just pop a seal in it type of job. It's yeah, well, I think we pretty much got to pull the engine out. And I ain't doing that. I really am not doing that. I want to get this thing going so I can get back onto that, and then that, and everything else. So, yeah. Alright, oh well, I've rambled on enough now. So, as I said before, like, share, subscribe. Have fun all, get out, have a play with your tractors and whatever else you tinker with. And I'll see you guys on the next one.